Hi chaps, SimOP here from Beard, Biceps and Batchat. Now I know the next video I was meant to be doing was a review of the mods, but I'll be honest, I enjoy doing gameplay videos a little bit more than I do doing tank reviews. Quite a lot of research has to go into the tank reviews sometimes. But anyway, I hope you appreciate this, guys. I'm in my Centurion Action X on Erlenberg. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you'll know if there was one tank that I was forced to play, and I could only ever play one tank, it would be the Action X. Now, there's a lot of reasons behind that. It's got the ammo that can pretty much deal with anything. It's got APCR, it's got heat, it's got the brilliant British Hesh, it's got great view range, 410 meters base without any upgrades or crew skills. It's got a good top speed. The gun is absolutely phenomenal on this thing. It's safe to say, if I didn't have a missus, I would marry this tank. Not even marry, I would knock it up on purpose to be with this tank forever. I love this tank. So on Erlenberg, what traditionally happens and the way the map plays out is generally the green team or whoever spawns south will push up the 9-0 line and occupy the ridge that I'm on. The red team will push down the 1-2 line and occupy the ridge down the 3-4 line. There's occasionally a push from the red spawn down the AB line to B0 with a couple of mediums that get hold down behind the ridge and just farm damage down the 9-0 line on the green set of camp in the ridge. So it's not boring. It's not a boring map. It's just it plays the same way. So you just kind of have to go along with your team, and you just need to make sure you're not being too aggressive too quickly, because everyone's set up to camp, so you'll get absolutely smashed. So on this map, Centurion's really good tank just because of the view range. So I'm not going to do anything too crazy. I'm just going to pick up the early damage. Again, the 1-1-3 pushing there, it's a fairly traditional move on this map from the north spawn. He's just been caught out in the open because he was pushing a little bit too aggressively and he wasn't quick enough to get to the position, 1-1-10 sorry, he wasn't quick enough to get to the position on AB 90 that he needed to, so he's going to get absolutely punished for it. Not his fault, he just couldn't move quick enough. Potentially a little lapse in judgment without move, but his sort of theory behind it in practice was very good, and he could have done a lot of damage if he had got into position. So what we need to do at this point is to get the game moving. Now by that I mean what you'll see in this TVP 50/50 or TVP, yeah TVP, couldn't even read it. What you're seeing that TVP do there is he's moved into the open area in front of his ridgeline to try and light up our push for his tanks on their ridgeline. So what we're going to do is look to do the exact same thing. Now it's a really good idea to do that on this map, just because you'll get loads of spot and assist, and you can get the game progressing a little bit. You can obviously see the need a target from Tom Zoe. We've spotted their arty, quite lucky. I love a good arty in the early game where you get to take shots at him. So our push is focusing down the AB line. So what I'm going to do is to push the middle fairly aggressively. Our boys are taking damage down the JK line from their ridge line, so I quickly need to get in position to spot it so we can start doing return fire. As you can see, once I've made my move, the rest of our mediums have started pushing aggressively as well. So I'm gonna try and prompt a red push. Now my way to prompt that is to set the cap off in a fairly safe location where the only way they can take me out is to expose themselves to our TDs on our ridge line. Now my intention isn't to cap out here, it's just to prompt movement on this map, just to get the game flowing a little bit quicker, and so it just doesn't end in a draw or just taking absolutely forever to come to its conclusion. Now I'll be honest, what I didn't expect was our mediums to come through the middle. I would have expected them to push with the heavies down the AB line rather than follow me down here. I'm just here to make a nuisance of myself, or potentially push down the JK line and just wrap around and start putting damage onto their ridge. So we've cut this M103 out in the open a little bit. We put one shot straight through his front drive wheel into his ammo rack, pull back, let him take his shot. Nope, he ain't gonna let me bait it. another shot into him. With my reload, I'm doing 2 shots to every shot he puts out at me. There's his shot, that's my 1. I know I'm getting the second in before he gets to reload. I'm going to take him out. So it's literally just a matter of waiting. Boom, gone. Again, that's the beauty of the Centurion Action X. With the reload, I've managed to get down to 6.8 seconds. So pretty much everything you're fighting against, bar a chieftain or an autoloader, you're getting 2 shots in for everyone they're getting at you. So it makes it a really, really good brawling tank. And it's got really good reverse speed, so you can peek-a-boom quite effectively as well. Now, as you can see at this point, the entire enemy ridgeline's lit up. As I said, they're all on the ridgeline. They're not camping the ridgeline, it's just the way the map plays. Our team's played more aggressively, and we've taken up positions on the houses on the river. So we're in cover, able to get shots at them. For them to be safe, they have to push back over the hill, over the ridgeline, which means their guns aren't effective, and to take shots they have to push over the ridge first. Now by pushing over the ridge they're exposing all their tracks and everything else before they even get to shoot, giving our guys shots at them. So currently we're in a really, really good, strong position, and we've got quite a good advantage just literally because of that little bit of movement where everyone's pushed aggressively. What we're going to carry on looking to is to see if we can keep this E75 bogged down, as well as this T57, which he's happily unloading his clip. There's his second shot he's done so far. We've done 1 into his track. There's his 3rd shot. So there's the 4th, and I'm pretty confident he's not going to do anything to me. I can just keep unloading. I'm aiming for the tracks and for the cheeks of the T57 Heavy. Obviously, the tank has been buffed recently, but the weak spots are still the cheeks. They're not auto deflect angles, and with APCR and 268 mils of penetration, you are going through, and there's not really much he can do about it. At this point, if he's pushing me quite aggressively, as we can see there, he's finished his reload, so I need to be a little bit cautious here that I don't just take 4 rounds or 1600 burst damage from the T57 as revenge for the 2 shots I put into him. So again, it's nice and fluid at this point, and they're not in a terrible position. They've sort of stabilised where we were pushing. They've kept us to just on their side of the river where they're peeking over. They've got the Death Star as being an absolute pain in the arse. So what I've got to try and do here is decide, we've progressed the game a little bit before by pushing aggressively over the bridge. How can we progress the game further just to break this deadlock we've got now, where everyone is essentially taking pot shots at each other? We're in a good position, they're in a good position, so we need to open it up a little. So I've got a couple of options what I can do. I can push to the right of this house here and look to go over the hill centrally and utilise my gun suppression and the turret armour of the Centurion Action X. Obviously not the top of the turret, but when you're at full depression, the turret becomes really, really good on this tank. Or I can push to the left through the gap in the castle, look to finish off any tanks that are in there, and look to get side shots onto the tanks that are on their ridgeline, and look to start utilising my Hesh rounds. That's going to go through the sides of most of the tanks that we find up here. Potentially not a E75 though. So the E75 is now finished off. We can push, and we're able to get side shots on all these tanks. Being behind the hill won't protect them anymore, and because we've got a flanking manoeuvre in, this is pretty much over now. We've got 1 heavy on B3 who's pushing aggressively. We've just got this M46 pattern KR, it's obviously the tier 8 premium that we did a review on a couple of days ago. He's not really much threat to me. We've got the IS3, again, none of them are paying any attention to me. I don't have to worry about angling my armour because they're not seeing me as a threat, or that they have other priorities like the TD on F3 that's pushing very aggressively with the accompanying medium. This boy is just shooting back to help his middle out. I'm trying to see if I can catch him. I'm kind of surprised I've not switched to Hesh yet. Yeah, normally this would be the sort of perfect time to do it, with some very lightly armoured targets around. So we've got the pattern, 1 shot into him, we eat a shot from him. My reload's better than his by about 1.5 seconds. Well, it's actually about one second, just under a second better. Yeah, so anyway, my reload's better. Now we've got to be a little bit careful because we have a Death Star to deal with. Obviously, he's got his buffed turret, which is a nightmare. They've got an auto loader there as well, so I've got to be very careful that this game doesn't end too quickly while there's still damage on the table. We take the Death Star out, and now we start getting ready to work on the Czech tier 10 medium horrible auto loader, and we'll just ram him. That is the 5th kill. Now we put one shot into the Wiz 11111 many ones 4, and I'm aware I'm onto my top gun, so I'm very, very anxious to make the shot through the gap. Boom. We take him out just before anyone else. We managed to get the top gun, 16 penetrations, 4 spotting ribbons, 6, was that 5? 5/6 spotting assist ribbons as well. We've managed to walk away with 5,358 experience, 5,000 physical damage, 3,000 assisted. We've got the high caliber, we've got the bruiser. It's only a first class rather than a mastery, but this tank is a nightmare to master because you guys are doing crazy things in it. I hope you're enjoying the content, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you next time, chaps.